Hi, I'm Lee Cuttrow. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to use the C++ standard template library vectors class. The primary reason you'll use a vector is that vectors do not have a size limitation. Arrays, you have to specify the size at design time, Vectors just keep adding to as much as you need within reason. There's essentially no limit to the end of a vector. You can use a vector where you want to use an array without problems. The only time I use a vector is when I don't know how big my array is going to be. In other languages, you might have come across things like array lists. This is similar. All right, so to use them, I need to include a couple things. Include vector gives me the ability to use the vector class. Include iterator allows me to use a special STL way to walk through these objects. The iterator will work with any of the STL objects, including array, list, stack, etc. So I'm going to define my vector. Like all standard template libraries, it wants a data type. So this is a vector that's holding strings. It can hold any data type you want, any primitive type or any complex type you built. In order to walk through them when I'm done, I'm using what's called an iterator. The iterator is a pointer that points to a location in the array. So notice how they set up the same vector string, then inherit for iterator. ITR will walk through this array. So let's populate this array. I'm going to call populate, so I don't confuse people with popping. I'm going to pass this in. And like arrays, these things do not pass in by address. So if you want to change them, you have to pass them by address. It also makes it pass faster. So I'm basically going to create a sentinel loop to keep entering data until I'm done. So I'm creating a string variable. Yeah. So I'm going to have you enter a word, enter done to quit. So keep the point of the loop. Input is not equal to done. All right, so ask them for it. I'm going to get it. And then I'm going to add it to names. While vectors are numeric based, you typically don't access them 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can, but you typically don't. You access them with things like pushback and adds. So pushback puts it in. That puts it into vector. This is going to include by done, so I'm going to simply throw the little if around here. I can also remove after, so I'm going to do it old school. So this should ask me repeatedly for names. Let's check to make sure that works. All right, so the loop works. Let's now get some outputs. You don't have to do this in method. I'm just going to do so because it's better coding. This time I don't have to pass by address because I'm not changing it, although you could. That would make this run faster, but it gives you a little bit of danger as you pass stuff in. I could do the for loop. I could do this. That's a valid loop here. Perfectly valid. Size returns back the number of elements in the array. It works like a traditional loop, and then you just do an ats. You would do like in here. It would perfectly be fine. And nothing wrong with it, but I'm going to show you a cooler way here in a second. So Lee and K comes back. All right, but this is kind of old school. If you understand it, stick with it, but there's a newer way. Using the iterator. So I'm going to take this iterator I have here, I'm going to define it up here. Because this is where I'm going to use it. So I'm going to set it the iterator at the beginning, make sure it's not at the end, and then add one to the iterator. Iterator is essentially a pointer that walks through the list. So it starts at the beginning and then walks through the vector all the way through. I'm going to get the value in the iterator by doing that, star iterator. And I should get the same output I just got before. Boom. So either output works. This iterator gives you a little more power. I can like beginning and end. I can move things around relatively easily. But use what you're comfortable with. All right. Thanks for watching. Good luck.